Okay, welcome to everyone joining us on Facebook, on our YouTube channel, wherever you find us. On this Monday, we're going to give it another minute for those coming into our Zoom room to join us. And as we wait, you know what to do. Gently close your eyes. And find your breath. Bring the flashlight of awareness to rest onto the sensations of the breath coming in through the nostrils, going out through the nostrils. And taking a moment, as always, to deeply relax. I mentioned in my talk on Friday night for Shabbat services about Moses calming God from his ire and wish to destroy the Israelites for having worshipped the golden calf. And the literal expression in Torah when Moses tries to calm God down. It says in Torah, Moses soothed God's face. And I shared on Friday how that is the basic instructions that I share in entering into meditation. Because when we relax the muscles of the face, when we soothe our face, we are no longer caught into the swirling of thinking, the tornado of thought that often, when caught in one story, specifically a triggering story, just keep on building and building emotions and anger and frustration. It's just the spiral of the story spiraling to higher and higher levels of anxiety and anger and frustration and whatever is allowed to be attached to the story that causes us to attack, to lash out, that draws within us the wish to hurt, to inflict pain. sometimes verbally, emotionally, sometimes even physically. It's when we get all caught up in those stories. So Moses soothed God's face, because Moses knew that face and thoughts are intimately connected. And then when we deeply relax the face, then we start to notice that the thoughts are having a harder time coming to the surface. It's not that the thoughts stop, but their vibration, their energy content gets, I would say, more than diminished, almost eradicated. And in the story of the Torah, the character of God is used as a parable for us, of course, of us falling prey to our fears. In God's case in the story, God feared that his children worshipping the golden calf was a reflection on his own failures. You know, this happens just after Sinai and the Revelation story and the Ten Commandments. Just 40 days later, and here are God's children worshipping idols. God feared that he had failed. He even accuses his children to be a stiff-necked people, as if God was disempowered, unable to counter the stiff-neckedness of his own children. God feared that this will reflect poorly on him. And we, as we play God in our lives, we feel often similarly that our creations, our actions, our words when they're not meeting our expectations, we fear it reflected poorly on us, because it's all about us, always. All these thoughts, 99.9% of them are about this me. There are two kinds of fears, really. One is like a more natural fear when there is danger around us. Fight or flight response is appropriate. If attacked, if in mortal danger, if a tiger, a lion, a bear approaches us, fear is a good thing to have. It's healthy. But then there is the fear that the mind creates by telling stories of what ifs. So how do we minimize these kinds of fear? The fear that is only existing in our mind. The fear that comes with failed expectations, unmet desires, projections of our aspirations on the outside that are crushed, fear of perhaps the meaninglessness of our life if all those stories and expectations and desires were not fulfilled. Deep fears that all come from stories. Some we're telling, some that we have integrated from the greater social, national, world narrative in which we exist. How do we not live in those fears? How can we free ourselves from fears? And I think that's what we are doing right here, right now, together. What I'm going to invite you to do through this meditation, as we stay focusing on the breath, of course, but as we allow the thoughts to come whenever they come, and to truly look at those thoughts, the thoughts that are about this character they have created, those thoughts that tell stories about life, good and evil, everything in between. And to step back from those thoughts, to just look at them as the product, really, of our lifelong conditioning. To look at them and know they are not you, they are not who you are. To look at them and know you have no control over which thought will arise next. And that those thoughts arise because that's what the mind does. The mind creates thoughts. You are not those thoughts. Anything you can observe, look at, is not the observer. Meditation allows us to get into a place where thoughts don't own us anymore. We can look at them with equanimity. And decide which of those are helpful, which are not. Which are okay to engage, which are not. Which stories are true, which are not. It allows us to be more discerning because it allows us freedom. Freedom from the thoughts, freedom from the known. So that's our practice today. To not reject any thought as it arises, but also to not engage or be involved with the thoughts, just to look at them. What kind of thought? What is this thought telling? It's like a little game where we make our thoughts as if external to us. Just indulge in this practice and look at them. Look at the character they are tracing. This is how we can free ourselves from fear, because when a fear thought arises, then we can look at it. Decide whether we want to follow it or not. Decide whether it is worth our attention or not. Decide whether it is helpful to us or not. This is our practice. So just observe. Observe the thoughts today and use your breath as your anchor in case you get distracted and unbeknownst to you, you get involved with the thoughts, meaning you believe in the thought and you follow it. Then come back to the breath and take a stand of observer again. Remain equanimous. Always equanimous. Equanimity is freedom. Keep observing the mind. Notice the insanity of the mind. All the places it goes, all the trivial topics it involves itself with. The more we realize the insane nature of the mind, the less attached to it and its stories we become. But for now, we let go of our practice. You may choose to continue during the day and, in fact, always to observe the mind. But for now, we take a couple of deeper breaths. And we stretch the body if we feel the need to do so. As we share shalom, wholeness, harmony, inner peace, that we might perhaps have touched upon during our practice with all beings, all beings. Modani. Thank you.
Modani.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Johnny. Thank you, Rabbi. Thank you, everyone. It's wonderful.
Yeah. Good.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you, Rabbi. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah. Hoping for rain. Yes.
Thank you, Rabbi. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. Take care, everybody.